It's a very good evening and thank you for being a part of our network tonight. My name is Sphumelele Zondi. Now, the MTN App Awards took place in the last week and South Africa's Department of Science and Technology honored women who are making strides in science and tech spaces. We'll chat to one of those women tonight. We'll also take a short trip to the island of Madagascar where locals are taking up online shopping. In the past, we've told you that Mpesa would make an entry into Europe. The Kenyan mobile phone payment method has finally arrived there. We'll tell you how East Europeans are receiving it. We are live. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. We're on News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Let's start with your social media and technology news. MTN Business held its third annual Applications Awards on Thursday. The most innovative app went to Wildlife Tracker. The best consumer Android app went to My Belongings. Best consumer iOS app was taken by Supersport. The Live Inspect app, designed to assist short-term insurers in performing effective inspection on vehicles, took the Best Android App Award. Let's find out more about some of the big winners.
And the App of the Year award goes to Live Inspect. Though not popular in download numbers, the Live Inspect application has proven to make life easier for those who have it. That's partly the reason it was given top honors by the judges of the MTN App Awards. The ceremony was held in Melrose Arch in Johannesburg on Thursday. MTN says this year's event was memorable because of the inclusion of the very first Consumer's Choice category. Organizers say the talent they found this year can compete with app developers in the rest of the world. Some of the other winners include Zappa, which won Best App for the Microsoft platform. The Rea Vaya app, which is for users of Johannesburg's Rapid Transit bus system, scooped the Best Garage Developer Application Award.
If you live in South Africa's third largest city, Durban, then you will now be able to complain to your municipality with just a click of a button. eThekwini Municipality has launched a Smart City app. Through the app, citizens can also track the progress of their cases and see if anyone else has laid a similar complaint. Network Stili Khaswane tells us all about it.
Want to complain about potholes or the lack of clean running water in your area? Well, finally, there's a municipal app for that. That's if you live in Durban or the surrounding areas though. eThekwini Municipality has launched a mobile phone application to interact with customers in real time. Produced by Dynatech, the new Smart City app is aimed to be a responsive service delivery tool meant to resolve cases speedily and without standing in the often frustrating government queues. Overall, the initiative is set to advance the use of mobile technology at national, provincial and local government levels throughout the country. Such apps are becoming common in South Africa, although their popularity is yet to be seen. 2 months ago, the Johannesburg Roads Agency launched a similar service delivery app to handle transport-related issues in the city. But there's criticism that the country's often embattled municipalities should be proactive in maintaining services instead of first relying on apps to notify them. But public entities say apps help to create an active citizenry.
We need to increase the level of activity within our citizenry. So it's really promoting that people continue to directly engage and get involved in service delivery issues where the city is concerned. But number two, I think with this app, we're trying to make sure that we automate some of the processes that have been causing problems in terms of people having access to us and making sure that we deal with the issues that they raise.
Back in eThekwini, the Smart City app is taunted as an example of citizens electronically tracing their cases and the progress being made in addressing them. The Smart City app will be free on Apple iStore and Android Play Store from September.
Let's go to the island nation of Madagascar now. Malagasy shoppers are increasingly moving away from crowded markets. Many who have internet access are starting to buy products online. According to government figures, about 2.5 million people in Madagascar are shopping digitally.
From electronic gadgets to cosmetics and shoes, people in Madagascar are busy on online streets in order to find the best bargain. An estimated 2.5 million Malagasy shop online. Many hope the new industry will contribute towards economic recovery. There are two main reasons people shop online. It is cheaper, or they just cannot be bothered with a trip to the store. And for busy professionals like Patricia Malala Harisowa, the convenience of online shopping is a lifeline.
Besides the fact that I don't like going shopping, it's also because of the type of work I do. I don't have time to go run errands because I have so little free time. I am in the office at 9 a.m. and sometimes I only get home at 7 p.m. I really don't have time.
But entrepreneur Jean-Luc Arthur says he wants to change perceptions of online shopping. More retailers are slowly overcoming concerns about the potential online fraud. Arthur is a founder of one of Madagascar's leading online grocery shopping portals.
From the public point of view, this is not a sector that is well known or supported. People need to be sensitized in order to use these platforms of online transactions.
The World Bank forecast that Madagascar economy will expand by 3.7% this year and 4% in 2015. But despite this low economic growth forecast, many hope that the popularity of e-commerce business will go towards reviving the country's economy.
Swahili has arrived in Europe through the word Mpesa. Kenya's innovative mobile phone method service is now in Romania. This successful service is predominantly used by people without bank accounts in the East African country. All it needs is a mobile phone for one to make payments.
Going cashless is easier in Nairobi than New York, thanks to Kenya's leading mobile money system, Mpesa. With Mpesa, M for mobile, Mpesa is Swahili for money. All you need to pay your electricity bill to groceries, taxi fares and school fees is a phone. After paying money to an Mpesa agent who credits the cash to your phone, you can transfer money to a friend, pay bills, or withdraw your cash back out.
So if you think about all the businesses in Nairobi, considering there are about 5,000 outlets just in town itself of Mpesa. And these people make money every day because they don't shut down.
Launched in 2007 by Safaricom, almost half the country's $44 billion economy passes through the system. It has since been extended to Tanzania, Egypt, India, and Mozambique. Now, Vodafone is bringing Mpesa to Europe for the first time, hoping to win over an estimated 7 million Romanians. Michi Karstoiu, an engineer from Bucharest, has just activated his Mpesa account.
Everyone has a mobile phone, and it's very simple to send and receive money or make payments.
In part, Mpesa succeeded in Kenya by meeting the needs of the unbanked. Romania was chosen as the European launch point for the service because many here still rely primarily on cash. But moving beyond emerging markets means adapting to fresh challenges. For example, they'll have to face different regulatory environments, and consumers who already have access to a wide range of financial services.
And I think this is something that the rest of the world can look at to say that there are ideas that can emanate out of the developing world and take it to the developed world.
How Europe will embrace Kenya's pioneering export is still far from certain.
Bloggers and activists in both Ghana and Nigeria are using social media to share Ebola prevention messages. The disease has killed over 1,000 people in West Africa this year. Now, there's also a mobile phone application that's helping people get information on the disease.
These techies are hard at work. They are in what's called the Idea Hub. The young men and women here are among a group who have taken it upon themselves to educate people about Ebola on social media platforms. They're hoping to curb the spread of one of the world's most deadliest disease. Jafet Omujua is the blogger who started the hashtag Facts on Ebola on Twitter. He says people are more likely to read short and precise messages than long ones.
The people on social media are some of the society's most influential. If they get an issue started, you're likely to have that issue become a national issue. 2, they have access to those that are not on social media. So if they are interested, if they are made to know and understand the dangers and the risk of us not stopping Ebola from being a Nigerian issue, then they will likely get to reach their parents, their sisters, their cousins, their relatives. They travel.
The Nigerian government says communication is its first line of defense against Ebola. They've created an app called Ebola Report Center. The app called Ebola Report Center has facts about the disease and how to report suspected cases. The health department has also posted an information about the disease on their Facebook page. The West African Ebola outbreak is the worst in history. And Nigeria has confirmed 10 cases of it in Lagos, and 2 people have since been reported dead. Over 1,000 people have died during the outbreak, and about 1,779 have been infected. The highly contagious virus causes fever, vomiting, bleeding, and diarrhea.
The Olympics-like gaming events, Gamescom, started in the last week in Cologne, Germany. It's the world's largest gaming and entertainment trade show. Gamescom is where staunch gamers get a chance to indulge in all kinds of goodies.
The 6th annual Gamescom saw long queues filled with die-hard excited gamers waiting to be dazzled by what's on offer. The 2014 edition of Gamescom focused more on games rather than gaming hardware.
It's all about the games now. Last year, the focus was on the new consoles, of course. Now everyone is looking forward to the new games.
Held in Germany's city of Cologne, Gamescom is the world's largest trades fair for interactive games and entertainment. In order to get the best experience, one had to arrive early when doors opened on Thursday.
Crazy. I was really surprised by the huge queues. People queue for almost 2 to 3 hours just to play games that are partly on the market already. I wouldn't do that, but it is impressive.
The branch counts on the appeal of the fair that is in its 6th year in Cologne now. Scandinavian countries Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland and Finland being this year's Gamescom partner countries.
Let's head off to China now, where in the last week we were reminded of the country's enormous gaming and social media landscape. Next we hear about 3 big Chinese companies. That's Tencent, JD.com and Alibaba.
A year ago, mobile games did not account much towards Tencent's overall operations. But now the gaming division accounts for 15% of the group's total revenue. Tencent is China and Asia's largest gaming and social media group. It's also the 4th largest technology company in the world after Google, Amazon and eBay. Tencent owns WeChat, a mobile application familiar to us also in Africa, which already boasts 430 million monthly active subscribers. And now Tencent is looking to outside developers to launch more games on WeChat. Its partner JD.com has been hit hard by news of costs associated with providing e-commerce via mobile apps such as WeChat. The Chinese government is looking to secure user data for such transactions. JD.com rival Alibaba is facing the same restrictions. On the upside, Alibaba's much-awaited initial public offering is expected in the coming week on the New York Stock Exchange.
After the break, we'll have a discussion about solar energy in Africa. Find us on our SABC network on Facebook and Twitter. Stay with us.
SABC News, we've got Africa covered.
Warm welcome to you at home. This is Afro Showbiz News, the show that brings you all things art and entertainment from around the African continent. Tunisian rapper Ben Ahmed, better known as Clay BBJ, has been released after spending 2 weeks in prison. The arrest came after he was accused of insulting security and violating public morals. The songs sung by the artists criticized the current situation in Tunisia. That's Afro Showbiz. Catch us every Saturday evening at 7:30.
Welcome back. Now, an organization monitoring the deployment of utility-scale solar power in the world called Wikisolar.org has reported that South Africa has become the 10th country globally harnessing renewable energy from the sun. This is very good news for a country which, for decades, has the worst air polluter in Africa from an over-reliance on fossil fuels. The South African government has 15 solar plants now contributing 503 megawatts to the country's electricity grid. This still pales Eskom's stranglehold of power generation, which amounts to 95% of all electricity produced in the country. But technological developments in the solar energy industry will help increase the number of solar plants, both in South Africa and across the continent. No other African country has cracked it into the top 10 on the renewable energy list, so well done to South Africa. Now, joining us to chat about solar energy uptake among corporates Africa is Gareth Warner. He is the Managing Director at Solar Century Africa. Gareth, welcome, and thank you for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you very much for having me on your show this evening.
Now, energy is expensive in South Africa. Why is that?
There's a long and a short answer to that. I'll give you the short answer this evening. The problem is that a lot of our power stations and power infrastructure, energy power infrastructure, was built in the 60s and the 70s, and it has a natural lifespan of about 30-40 years. Now, what happened is government didn't plan to build new infrastructure, and hence we now have to build these big expensive power stations like Medupi and others, and there's no budget for it. So you need to increase the energy prices in order to afford the new power stations.
And you're saying solar energy can help here?
Absolutely. Solar energy basically is another form of energy that you can deliver to your house, to your business. It's environmentally friendly, but because of the price of electricity in South Africa, how it's climbed, and in Africa, solar energy's prices have actually dropped. In terms of the solar photovoltaic modules, they've more than halved in price over the last 3 years. So they've become more affordable. The normal electricity prices have become more expensive, and basically we're getting to a point of what we call grid parity, where the price for renewable or solar energy is almost the same price as the price you pay Eskom, for example.
What does almost the same actually mean, though?
Well, it varies because, there's a lot of different tariffs in this country. So it depends what tariff you're on. Like if you're a big bulk user, like a big shopping center, you'll get a cheaper price of electricity than what you will get at home. So it varies from business to business, and the different municipalities also charge different prices. So it's quite complex.
Let's talk about the technology involved in this. How expensive is it to install?
It's not very expensive to install. There is initial setup costs. So it depends on the size of the system you're looking at. If you're looking for your house, for your commercial. So at Solar Century, we more focus on commercial, business-driven solutions. So these are large solutions. So I would give you a number for a solution would be 10 million rand, for example, would be a ballpark figure that you would need to, or that you'd need to pay to install the system. Now, you might think that's quite expensive, but if you look at those modules, or the solar panels will last for 25 years, and they're generating free power every day as long as the sun is shining. So you can pay off that initial capital cost quite quickly.
And South Africa does have a lot of sun.
It does indeed.
And industry players such as yourselves, do you manufacture solar components?
No, at Solar Century we don't. We mainly look at designing and building and installing and maintaining the systems for clients.
All right. And when clients want to install them, so I suppose they just get a hold of you, and then what's the process there?
Well, the process is normally, it all comes down to money, as in life. So what we look at is, a client will come to us and they'll say they're looking at solar energy or another form of energy to supplement their current energy prices. So what we do is we actually do like a model for them and say, well, this is what you're on, this is what let's say your shopping center is averaging over the year, this is what you're paying for electricity on that average, and then we put a proposal to them and say, well, this is what the solar system will cost, but this is what it'll save you over the duration. So it's more a financial decision, more a savings decision for the company organization than anything else.
And for someone who doesn't know, we do often say that South Africa is the biggest polluter on the African continent. And solar energy, how can it help there?
So solar basically is completely environmentally friendly. So there are no moving parts. It doesn't have any emissions. So once you install the system, as I mentioned, it's there for 25 years, and it just works as long as the sun shines. So as opposed to, let's say, as you mentioned earlier, coal. Eskom produces 95% of the electricity from coal. So coal lets emissions into the air and uses water for the cooling systems. So you've got a double effect.
Gareth Wanda, Managing Director at Solar Century Africa. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Now, in this week's profile of women in the sciences, we learn about the Iranian mathematician who on Wednesday made world history. Maryam Mirzakhani became the first woman to be awarded the Fields Medal, which is often considered to be the mathematics equivalent of the Nobel Prize.
The world has had to wait 78 years for its first woman winner of the Fields Medal. On Wednesday at the International Congress of Mathematicians in South Korea, Maryam Mirzakhani from Iran became just that woman. Maryam was recognized for her work in understanding the symmetry of curved surfaces, one of the disciplines in complex geometry. At 37 years of age, Maryam is a professor at Stanford University in the United States. She was born in Tehran in Iran and lived there until she began her doctorate work at Harvard University. Maryam Mirzakhani, another example of great women in the sciences.
After a very quick break, we'll discuss the Women in Science and Technology Awards. Don't forget to look for us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter.
Zoom into Africa. This is Comoros. The president is Mr. Ikilulu Dwanine. Comoros got independent from France on 6 July in 1975. The population is over 700,000 people. One of the major languages spoken is French. Monetary unit is the Comoran franc.
Welcome back. Now, the South African Women in Science and Technology Awards took place on Friday evening. The ceremony was hosted by the Department of Science and Technology as part of Women's Month commemorations. Winners came from all kinds of fields, and we have one of them here in the studio. Her name is Mpho Raborife, a doctoral student whose research work at WITS is partly trying to find the best mobile phone application that can be used by small businesses to buy goods. Hello and welcome, Mpho.
How's Johnny? I'm well, thanks.
Yeah. Can you just tell us about these awards, the Women's Science and Technology Awards?
Basically, what the awards were doing was to celebrate women in science. Actually, included women in humanities and the social sciences, ranging from young scientists doing their masters and PhDs to distinguished professors who have published over across a lot of fields and have supervised a lot of students. So that was basically to celebrate that in Women's Month. So that was so very nice.
Now you're one of those geniuses. So what's your research looking at?
Basically, I'm trying to use mathematical constructs to develop a mobile application that allows very small enterprises to purchase goods as a single entity in order for them to leverage on group purchasing and get discounts in a virtual marketplace.
Why are you looking at small enterprises in the virtual marketplace?
Basically, this started when I was still in corporate. So when I started my PhD, I was still in corporate. And, you know, there was this big bang of mobility, cloud, and small businesses tapping into that bank. That's when Mpesa came into. So, and then I decided that in South Africa, we have small enterprises. We have very small enterprises. They're a very complex way of purchasing goods. Most of them actually purchase goods twice a week, so that increases transactional costs, and they can't even ask for discount because they buy in very small quantities. So I was actually looking into how does one help this enterprises with the procurement processes, and that's how I came with this topic.
And you reckon a mobile phone is the best way?
Because everyone has a mobile phone. See, when you talk about very small enterprises and micro enterprises, people don't have computers. They don't have this complex software system in their shops and spaza shops. So what does everyone in this country have? I mean, almost everyone has a cell phone. It might be a feature phone, it might be a smartphone, but they can still access services using that phone.
Now, your research is not developing an application.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, what's your research doing exactly?
Basically, I'm using formal language theory, which is a mathematical construct in computer science, to define how a virtual buying cooperative should work. So how these enterprises, which are physically distributed from Mpumalanga to KZN to Gauteng, how can they meet in the marketplace and communicate and cooperate and purchase these goods, seemingly as a single entity from the same supplier. So that's where the mathematics comes into play. From this, one can take the output of the mathematical output and actually develop that software application.
And at the moment, is there such a method?
Now that I've made strides, I'm in my second year, I'm moving into my third year of my PhD, I've found out what is the basic formal methodology that one should use to develop such an app, on which someone can actually now use it once I've published, of course, that paper on it, and now start developing that app. So yes, in science, this is actually a stride in that for a lot of years, people have seen these mathematical formulas. You see EM equals to MC squared, but we just don't understand how that applies to us in real life. So this is a stride in my field to say that we come with these theoretical concepts.
Quickly, Mpo, what are you hoping to achieve with this once you're done?
I'm hoping to achieve a very low-end technology that enables these enterprises to purchase a single entity. So,
all right.
Yes.
Mpo Raborife, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Yes.
Now let's find out what some have been sharing in social media. Ratings agency Moody's has cut the rating of South Africa's Capitec Bank. Many in social media have been sharing their views on this. They've also commented on the decision for South Africa's central bank to disagree with Moody's. Other discussions were on South Africa's decision to rescue African Bank. The bank's woes started because it gave too many loans to people who couldn't afford to repay them. Many have been sharing their views on the issue. Some are excited that the Gautrain strike isn't happening and will continue moving between Johannesburg and Pretoria. The announcement was also confirmed on Twitter. Right, selfies have become a fad that probably defines our generation. People seem to take them in many situations, sometimes even when unnecessary. Tonight we play out with a Vine compilation of people making fun of some situations that would be awkward for selfies. That's all from me. It's Pumela Lezondi and the rest of the network team. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. Use network@sabc.co.za and email. Good night.
I gotta go to the hospital. But first, let me take a selfie.
Brother, help me!
But first, let me take a selfie.
Oh, snap! Come on, man. All right.
But first, let me take a selfie.
Time to do homework.
But first, let me take a selfie. Let me take a selfie.
But first, let me take a selfie.